smarts and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Yes, guys, you see this chair. This is my new chair I got for my birthday. An first early birthday present. This new chair. That will be now... That will now be what I will be using for these videos. This more comfortable chair. This little headrest. It's an office, it's pretty much an office chair that you'll now see me study on for the videos. It'll be easier to get the videos done. In a way. Yeah, I have a much better chair now. Yeah, maybe a the first part of the new setup is all officially here, and it's this nice little chair. But hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new Top 11. And this Top 11 is going to be for the final video I will be recording before I go up north. So I want to get this done before I head up north. The annual up north trip. But this is going to be a horror one. One that Cody Leach did, and when I saw this video I decided I need to do one of this myself. I haven't done a saddest horror films moment list. So this is going to be for the top 11 saddest horror movie moments list. And this is my list, my top 11. What I think are in this one. So yeah, here it goes. You guys tell me your top 11 after the video is done. But with that being said, guys, let's not make this too long. Let's get on with our list. So, kicking off at number 11 is going to be for, started off the last top 11 horror list, Cloverfield. Once again, this one appears at number 11. That's two top 11s that's appeared at number 11. But yeah, so guys, as you all know, when it comes to Cloverfield, I'm going to say this. I'm not a big fan of found footage horror, like you all know. There have been some I do love, such as Wreck, VHS 85, and VHS 2, and Chronicle. But personally, guys, it's just not my kind of genre. However, there is one American-made found footage horror film that I can agree on is terrific. And that's, of course, obviously Cloverfield by Matt Reeves. This movie's only simply 82 minutes long, not including the credits or logos, and it goes by pretty quick. The plot is this monster arrives in New York. This group of partygoers are documenting one last night before one of them goes away to Japan for a business trip. They get caught up in this whole evasion. They're trying to survive a night and also go on a rescue mission to save the lead's girlfriend. Now, pretty much, this is where our sad moment gets talked about right here. They do save her, and they reach the evacuation helicopters. But sadly, Clover ends up whacking the one the three remaining main leads are on, and then they end up in pretty much Central Park now. The monster then kills TJ's character, who's the cameraman. There's one good thing that does come out of the end, I'll admit that. And so our lead and his girlfriend he just rescued are the only two left. They go under this bridge, and they pretty much decide they have to remain there for a while. But then the sirens that are going to announce the bombing of New York to kill the monster for good, they go off. And so they realize that, oh shit, we're not going to make it out of this. So let's give the government one last testimony and words about what happened when they find this footage. This guy, Rob, is able to say his last words normally and calmly, even though he knows he's about to die. But his girlfriend he just rescued, oh dear God, she is just struggling to say her bit as she's crying. This attack, she knows she's about to die soon. She just got rescued from her collapsing home. She now knows of the monster attack. And now, now she's already about to die being bombed. And then, of course, while she's saying her thing, the bomb then goes off, destroys the bridge. They say they love one another, and then the camera just freezes as the bombings go off, and then we get one last scene of their one last scene of their best day. They're at Coney Island. Like, and also that does show how the monster got there and stuff. And then Rob ends the footage saying, "You had a good day?" And Beth's like, "I had a good day." And then honestly, the other sad part of this very last shot is it shows it freezes on their happy faces, which is also a pretty heartbreaking last shot to end the movie on after you just saw these two die. And fuck, that is definitely an example of a depressing ending at its finest. One of the big examples of a depressing horror ending at its finest for a newer horror film. And in fact, it literally ends with their last happy moment together, just makes it even sadder. Oh, and get this, guys. You know what's even sadder? You know the monster of this movie? Guess what? It's just a baby. It's only a baby. This whole baby was invading New York because it was clearly scared. It was trying to find its mother again. It was lost. And J.J. Abrams apparently confirmed that the monster died in the bombing, unless you count the message in the credits that gets played backwards that says it's still alive. So guess what, guys? The monster never found its mother ever again. It died all alone and terrified, just trying to get back home. It just died. It just got nuked and it died. So guess what, guys? This is why I want a sequel to Cloverfield. I wanted a sequel to Cloverfield happen instead of more shitty Paranormal Activity sequels. Just imagine the mother, how bigger the mom is, and how imagine it probably another catastrophe happening. This time with the mom, this time now angry, finding if this monster mother finds out her son was murdered or baby kid was murdered, nuked out of existence. Imagine how her rage would go next time she starts this all over again in a new city. That's just messed up to really think about. Kicking off at number 10 is going to be The Death of Sam from I Am Legend. Now guys, a little interesting story about I Am Legend. I never talked about this movie before, so I'll kick cap on this one. This was one of my very first horror films back when I was around 9 years old. The first one I watched was Gremlins. This was probably, I think, my second. That was when age 9 was when I first saw this movie. I believe it or not. And probably the first time I've really seen Will Smith do the closest thing to a horror film. The plot of this movie is pretty much this virus has wiped out all of humanity, but there is one person left, and that's in New York. Once again, another New York location. And that's Will Smith's character, Robert Neville, a scientist who's trying to create this cure and bring back humanity from the dead, and his only companion is his dog Sam that his child gave to him before that child and Robert's wife were killed by the infected in a helicopter crash. And then at one bit where after Robert eventually ends up injured in a trap, the infected, these guys, they unleash their dogs onto them, and his dog Sam fights them off to protect Robert. She herself ends up bitten, injured, and affected though as a result. Then Robert gets back home, and right here, guys, the saddest bit is when he's trying to save her, and he's even trying to sing the song Three Little Birds as he's holding on to her and thinking that he can try to save her. But you know this moment is coming very soon. You know this dog is not going to make it. The dog is now bitten and infected, and now it starts to show its signs of infection and legitimately bite Robert. And now Robert has to pretty much kill his own dog by strangling her before she can bite him. This was definitely one of the best acting moments from Will Smith. You really feel the despair and horror on his face as he now forced to regretfully do this deed, and now has to kill his own dog. He knows his dog is now long infected. He's not going to be he can never be cured, cannot be saved now. So he's now had to kill her. His only companion left is now gone. Yeah, he gets found by two other remaining humans though. You find out he wasn't the last person after all. But yeah, before that happens, he's just then alone in despair after that bit. One scene, he goes back to this, he actually goes back to the video store. You see in the movie, he's put some mannequins around the place. He pretends to talk to them like they're people to avoid losing sanity. And then right there, guys, he then sees one of them, he then like is at that store where one of them is, and he's like just staring at that wall, and he's like trying to wish the mannequin would say hello to him. Like you could tell he's on the verge of tears, like wishing there at least be someone else left for him to talk to now. His dog is gone. He's now kind of thinks he's the only one left. He's got no one else. Like, yeah. This is definitely one of these sass horror kills yet. And yeah, it's definitely one of the most depressing horror moments, yeah. And this is definitely one of Will Smith's best acted scenes, yeah. And you really feel the despair he's now going through. Number 9 is going to be Charlie's death from Hereditary. I get some people hate this film, but honestly, to me, this is probably the only good film Ari Aster has done in his life. Because, like, after this, Ari Aster went on and did a bunch of bullshit, or a bunch of overrated mediocrity, or even a bunch of bullshit, like the movie he did last year. And it's definitely one of the best horror films from A24. I remember seeing this movie in the theaters when it released, and I've loved it ever since then. The moment that comes here, that is the most distressing, disturbing to watch part of the film, no doubt. Yeah, anybody can guess this. It's Charlie's death scene. How this scene goes, like literally, pretty much our big bad cult, like you know, our pretty big bad cult was kind of the one that influenced this whole incident and kicked off this whole incident to make their plan work. Pretty much they pretty much clearly orchestrate this whole party invite for the teenage son to accept. And so like, yeah, then like, and when he lies to Toni Collette that it's a school-related event, Toni Collette pretty much has this argument with Charlie earlier, and then she makes Charlie go with him, but she doesn't want to, but she makes her anyway. Yeah, especially because he lied that it was a school-related thing, but it was really not. So yeah, when they get to the actual like teen-related party, Peter goes off to smoke some weed with this girl he likes, and he has Charlie go have this cake to keep her distracted. Like there's this chocolate cake there. What they don't know is that there's actually peanuts in it. And guys, like in the beginning of the movie, it's mentioned she's allergic to peanuts or nuts or something. Yeah. So then she starts having reactions, and so like Peter finds out she can't breathe. He drives her to the hospital. Tries to get her to the hospital anyways. But on the way there, he ends up nearly hitting a dead deer. And then Charlie smacks into a pole, head first. And she is instantly killed. Technically, no. The reason why she died is because, like, no. She didn't die hitting her head on the pole. The pole actually decapitated her. Because, like, once we, like, during the whole, like, when Toni Collette's reaction scene, like, we see her head on the road. It's covered in ants. Right there, that shows, like, that's proof that actually shows right there she got decapitated. So then Peter's then in shock. He quietly asks, are you okay? Like, trying to see if, like, Charlie's at least alive or something. But he clearly now knows she's not. And so he just silently and just shocked, speechless, returns home. And then the next morning, guys, Toni Collette's character finds her dead body in the car. And she lets out this horrific, haunting, wailing scream for a very long while. I kid you not, upon seeing this part in the theater, as soon as she starts that scream, I almost had to step outside the theater for a little while to calm down. Like her acting in this very scene was very raw. It was very upsetting. This really felt like you're actually witnessing an actual mom finding their child murdered and breaking down. Then, like, the rest of the film does not get any better after that. It's like, again, it does. This part, like, leads into the full actual plot of the movie. Right there, like, now, as much as people want to shit on A24 horror all they want, that bit right there, to me, honestly, is one very well-acted moment. And it's definitely one of the reasons why I still like Hereditary as much as a lot of people really do not. Right? It's just my opinion. Now, kicking off at number 8 is going to be the ending of Buried. Yeah, the Ryan Reynolds film from 2010. Yeah. This was easily one of Ryan Reynolds' best performances of his career. And definitely, and honestly, like, before Deadpool had come out, this was probably his last great performance for a while. Because, like, after that film, he had a bit of a decline. There were some mediocre films, like some that were praised, just weren't really that successful, just aren't that talked about to this day. Like, after this, he had a bit of a decline. You know, he did one superhero film that was not very well liked. Right after this movie. In this movie, guys, He plays this truck driver that was buried alive in an Iraq desert, and the whole movie, it's him in a coffin. You don't see any flashbacks. Like, he's in that coffin the whole entire movie. He plays this truck driver that was buried alive in an Iraq desert. He only has a lighter. He only has a flashlight. He has some other accessories. He has this cell phone. And he's told that he has to give $1 million of ransom money, or he's going to be left to die. And his family will also be killed. He also pretty much relies on, and with this cell phone, he also pretty much relies on this rescue team he calls that can try to save him. So at the very end, the coffin is now like filling up to dangerous levels of sand. The rescue team then calls his character and says they're on his way to his grave. And during this moment, like, Paul calls his wife finally, and he promises her he's going to be coming back home, and then cuts back to the rescue team. And it seems like just as they arrive, though, he does hear digging, but he hears none near his area. And guess what, guys? The reason why he can't hear any of them is because earlier in the movie, during this time when he asks if any of this rescue team saved anybody, the guy that he's calling says they mentioned they rescued this guy named Mark White. And so guess what, guys? This whole scene, we find out Mark White was all a lie. Because guess what, guys? You want to know who they dug up? Yeah. They dug up Mark White's... It turns out they dug up Mark White and that's why Paul could not hear them. They dug up the wrong person. And now Paul realizes he's not going to be rescued, and he's now going to pretty much die and suffocate in that very coffin. Like, that is honestly such a nail-biting, curb-stomping moment. It definitely one of the saddest scenes Ryan Reynolds has done in his career. And honestly, like, films like this and Smoking Aces do make me wish he would kind of go back to doing more serious roles like this again. Because the part of me does kind of prefer this earlier side of him a bit more than kind of the current one, where the current one he's now kind of just playing Deadpool in almost every other movie he's been in lately. And as much as I do like Deadpool, guys, I do admit that I still like Ryan Reynolds as an actor, but I do wish he'd go back to doing the more serious dramatic roles like this. I do kind of miss this era of him, in a way. Like, Smoking Aces is definitely another example that proves, like, that actually just shows that he can make a very great, serious performance. Right there. So I do wish he'd kind of go back to that again, but that's just me, though. So yeah, Buried, the ending at would definitely be number 8. Kicking off at number 7 is going to be for the newest movie on this list, the scene where Pearl gets denied the role she was trying hard for in the movie Pearl by Ty West. Yes, this is pretty much the prequel to the horror film X that came out the same year as this movie, ironically, just like 6 months before this. And because technically Ty West shot both this and X back-to-back, this was literally released a few months after that movie, and it's pretty much the backstory about the antagonist from X herself, Pearl. The plot of the movie is she's trapped on her family's isolated farm, and Pearl is trying to tend to her alien father, especially having to be watched by her strict mother, and she wants a glamorous life like she saw in all the movies, and she's finding her ambitions, temptations, or oppressions, with this origin story of X's iconic villain, like right here, like in this whole movie, guys. Mia Goth definitely proved that she gave such a tremendously great performance as a tragically Pearl who just wants to escape her farm and live in the movie world, like be a movie star. And pretty much like here, this whole scene gets built up where how after she has killed her parents and this talent scout earlier in the film, Pearl then arrives at the very church where the audition for this role is being held. She gets met by this nervous friend of hers, named Mitzi, who wants her to go before her. So Pearl gives this dance performance that she feels is going to win the talent scouts over. But guess what, guys? We know this moment is coming because it's a prequel, but still, you just feel bad for this crazy chick when she's distraught when they deny her for being not blonde or who they're not looking for. Right there, and like here, she's just breaking down that she's a star. She just wishes they'd give her a chance right there, and she's like in real despair right there. It's definitely easily one of Mia Goth's best scenes she has done right here. This really solidified her performance as phenomenal, and it sucks she was Oscar snubbed right here. She should have gotten an Oscar for this performance right here. But yeah, the fact that it's kind of also fucked up that they pretty much deny her the role because she's not blonde at all. But then, like, her friend takes a distraught, wailing Pearl home and tries to calm her down. And right there, Pearl then has this confession about her hatred towards however that came to work at her family home. And then Pearl saw her marriage shower, and pretty much, yeah. as this way to escape her parents. But then, of course, Howard wanted to remain on the family's farm, and then confesses the feeling of alienation and insecurity, and pretty much began murdering farm animals. And then, of course, admits having just murdered her parents, right there, and like right there. So yeah, her friend's now trying to leave, and of course. But then Pearl pretty much has her Mitzi confess that she got chosen for the role. And then, of course, like, Pearl just calmly stands there and watches her go. Just calmly at first. Seems like she'll just let her slide. But guess what? No, she's not going to spare her. Guess what? She is now gone insanity. She is long gone now. There's no more sign of the peaceful Pearl. She is now the axe murderer. You see her in X. So she follows Mitzi onto the porch, grabs an axe. Mitzi then tries to run. Pearl chases her down and kills her brutally with the axe. Like, yeah, this right here, guys, this was pretty much, in a way, the death of the same normal Pearl you saw throughout the film. Pearl has now lost her whole entire sanity, and pretty much she's pretty much, you could say in a way, Pearl died of heartbreak that she couldn't achieve her dreams. She's now the killer we saw in X, and we all know she's gonna die in the next movie. And then Howard comes home, and he sees all the dead parents. He comes home from the war. It's set during World War I, guys. I forgot to clarify that. He sees the dead parents, and then and then Pearl shows up. Pearl, I'm so happy you're home, and she gives this almost like close to tears smile. And get this, guys. This last shot is a very haunting way to close the film, because guess what, guys? The credits roll on her now, like, clearly on her creepy smile. You have to see that smile as the credits roll. Nearly the whole entire shot. And she also looks like she's about to be on the verge of tears as well. Like, yeah, this was the moment when Pearl herself died. She is now the murderer you're going to see in X. She's going to die in X. Yeah. You know this bit is kind of coming because it's a prequel, but it's still a heartbreaking bit. And it's definitely still one of Mia Goth's best performances. Kicking off at number 6 is going to be the scene where Gordon leaves Adam in the bathroom to go get help in the first Saw movie. Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of ironic a Saw movie is on this list, but there is one scene from the first film that I feel like is worthy to be on here. Because, like, you all know, guys, Saw's been always one of those films that's been a timeless horror classic of the 2000s. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time, one of my favorite films of all time. It's a masterpiece of cinema for a directional debut of a very guy that has gone on to direct stuff like Furious 7, the Aquaman movies. Like, yeah, this guy's already done some big budgeted films and some other horror movies. Like, yeah, this was a guy and his friend Leigh Whannell, who's also directed some movies as well. They started off with one dirty bathroom for their set, and it launched their careers to this very day. Who knew a film set in a dirty bathroom would do that? Would launch two amazing filmmakers' careers. The first of this whole zombie running series that just does not want to end because they're making an 11th movie next year. How many of these fucking movies are they going to make? Fuck! The first good movie starts off with them chained to a bathroom by this killer called Jigsaw. And these two now, in order to escape, they have to either sacrifice something or each other if they want to get out of their fates. One specific way they can get out is by cutting their feet with hacksaws. And first they think the hacksaws will cut their chains, but then they realize they won't when Adam's hacksaw breaks. And they're right there, and so that's their realization. And then eventually when he gets to the whole finale of the movie, Gordon has now gone insane. He thinks his family has been killed now. He's just crazy losing it. He snaps and finally decides, that's it. I'm cutting my fucking foot. And he chops his foot with that hacksaw and then pretty much shoots Adam in the shoulder to save his family. And at first, like, throughout the movie, you're led to think the Jigsaw killer is Zepp himself. Because the way he's terrorizing his family, you do believe this guy is the killer. Right there. Then Zepp arrives at the bathroom after a bit of a scuffle with Danny Glover. He arrives at the bathroom, is about to shoot Gordon because it's the rules. Adam then wakes up, bashes Zepp's head in with a toilet lid just as he's about to shoot Gordon. And right here is where the sad moment happens. Gordon announces that he's going to go get help for Adam, and he promises to be back with someone else to save him. And right here, guys, Adam is begging Lawrence not to leave him in that place all alone. Right there, and it's a sad moment, but the saddest thing is, you're at least led to believe the movie's going to end somewhat happy and optimistic, right? Well, guess what? No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Because right after Lawrence leaves, Adam's looking for the key to his chains, but guess what? This is where iconic plot twist comes out. He finds another tape, and you find out Zepp was not the main antagonist at all. Zepp was actually another Jigsaw victim, and literally, guess what? You know who our real villain was? Our real Jigsaw killer was in the bathroom with them the whole time. He was that dead body that you see throughout the movie that's between the two. And it's the villain himself in the series, and pretty much this scene was also our intro to the horror icon himself, John Kramer. He was with them the whole time, pretty much watching their whole game. And you also find out that key to their chain, that the chains actually drained when Adam awoke at the very start of the movie. That's that blue object you saw go down the drain. That was the key to the chains. So yeah, Adam can't escape now. His key's gone. His hacksaw's broken. It's right there. So pretty much Adam now is left in that bathroom to die. Jigsaw just walks out, says, "Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you. Not anymore." And what's more horrific is you actually see Adam and you actually see Adam's despair screaming, and Jigsaw yells "game over" and shuts the door, and then you get to hear more of Adam's despaired screams right into the end credits. And get this, guys, apparently the writer and director are pals, and apparently when James Wan shot this scene, James Wan found Leigh Whannell's screams so despairing that he had to exit the set room when they were filming this bit because he was almost about to break down crying. Yeah, because he actually felt like he was witnessing his own friend be left to die a horrible fate. Yeah, and also it's kind of also fucked up how Adam was literally tested, all just because he took some pictures and was just trying to make a living. Right there. That's one of my problems with Jigsaw. Kicking off at number 5 is going to be the apology scene from the Blair Witch Project. I know. I said I am not the biggest fan of this movie, but if there is something I can agree with, I can definitely understand why it was praised so much and why it was so successful when it released. Here's the thing, guys. Back in the 90s, found footage was not even a genre at the time, and because it was a new genre that had been invented, and there was a whole bunch of them you now see today back then, except for unless you count Cannibal Holocaust or something like that. But so there was also no internet either. So everybody thought this was actually a real thing that happened. And this footage was actually real. Right there. They thought these 3 actually got killed in the woods. That these 3 kids were real people. But then the internet got invented eventually, and they confirmed it was all fake. Within quick. Yeah, so then that pretty much led to the movie getting backlash. The story of the movie is that these 3 people, they go into this cursed woods, they're going to film a documentary on the Blair Witch, they end up lost in the woods. What definitely does not help is that one of them kicked their map into the creek, and they pretty much spend the rest of the movie being terrorized by this unknown force in the woods, and purely lost in the woods, just going pure insane more and more as the movie progresses. One of them even goes missing the rest of the film, and the other 2 are trying to find him. There is one moment right here I do like, and it's pretty much where the movie does finally start to get good. It's the iconic apology scene. This bit was honestly another heartbreaking moment in horror, because how it really goes is Heather, the lead of the group, she's apologizing to all 3 of their families. She now believes that she got themselves to this mess with no backup, no plan, no other option, no other crew, no actual experts to assist them. Now she knows that they're all going to be dead very soon. Nobody's going to come help them or ever is going to find them because nobody knows where they are. That is unless you count that fucking 2016 movie, which I don't. Right here, guys, throughout the whole entire apology, she's terrified, she's in tears, she knows she's about to die, pretty much, and only showing half her face in the whole scene, makes this scene much more distressing to watch right here. And honestly, after that, this is where you get the only scary scene of the movie, and that's the ending at the house, where the 2 remaining obviously get killed by what is obviously the witch. And right here, they think they're going to find Josh when they get to this house, but they don't. And like that, yeah, like it's a shame that's the one scene where the movie actually tries to be scary, because like this scene actually did feel real. Honestly, like honestly, the alternate endings were honestly much scarier too. Like one of them even had Mike showing being hung. Like honestly, the others actually looked more like the alternate endings were even terrifying of this. Like I may not be a huge fan of this movie at all, but I will admit that apology scene is definitely one of the saddest scenes to watch in a horror film, and it does actually redeem the movie in a little bit for me. Kicking off at number 4, and I think all of you are anticipating this one to be on the list. Lee's death from A Quiet Place. This is another 2018 horror film, and it's easily the best horror film of that year, no doubt. A Quiet Place kind of has that Cloverfieldish like tone in a way, right there with its concept. Like this film, except it's not found footage though. This film is literally about a farmer and his family. They're trying to survive this creature apocalypse, where these creatures kill anything that makes a sound, so they can't make any sound whatsoever to avoid alerting these guys. And throughout the film, you see them pretty much adjusting to this whole scary life they have to live in. And this film really shows that John Krasinski was definitely ready to start directing films and can make a very great, solid horror flick. This film also not only has many nail-biting moments, it also has many sad bits from when it's the rocket bit in the beginning to the finale. And this bit right here easily makes this whole scene one of John's best performances of his career. Like right here, like after Evelyn has just given birth to their son, the most intense and painful, clearly looking way possible. And now like the other two kids are in danger, trying to survive. The hatch like breaks away completely and it falls into Silo almost just missing the two kids. Like Regan, like the daughter, jumps into Silo and saves Marcus and pushes the hatch towards him so she can grab onto it. But she sinks into the grain though, and so like Marcus climbs out, pulls the sister to safety, and they get out of the silo. They hear the crash, and that alien that they encountered earlier jumps into Silo. The kids have to cover themselves. And it seems like they're gonna be doomed, but then Regan's like implant then manages like forces the alien to crash outside, and so they crawl out, they go into his pickup truck, and then Lee has just arrived on the scene to save them, grabs an axe, but he gets attacked and wounded by the alien, and then Marcus immediately screams, and the alien hears the scream, then heads for the truck and is almost ready to kill the two children. Immediately, Lee though, in this very moment, he's badly injured. He gets up, he makes eye contact with his daughter, and in sign language, he says that he's always loved her. He's always loved her, and then he immediately lets out this yell to attract the creature to kill him and to be able to save the two kids right there. And so they pretty much start the truck, and the creature kills Lee right there. And like when you get to this bit of the movie, you really think Lee's actually going to survive the whole movie because he's the main character. Yeah, main characters get killed off in horror films lots of times, but you really think they're not going to kill off the lead character for this movie. Well, but by the time you get to this bit, he's now injured, and he's now looking at his daughter, and now you realize, oh fuck, they're really going to go this route and kill him off. And like John Krasinski definitely... Yeah, the scene that really makes this scene one of John Krasinski's best performances is the scream he like lets out to alert the creature. It can also be seen as kind of the scream where he's just letting out all that grief he had been hiding inside him ever since his youngest son had died in the very beginning of the movie, after the whole scene with the rockets. And now he's pretty much sacrificing his own life so his wife and kids can be safe, and can hopefully now like be able to pretty much now be able to find a way, and with that whole ear implant, they can finally now kill the creatures, and they can finally take back Earth. Like, this definitely right here, guys. This was a movie that was a sign that you were about to get a new epic horror franchise. And it's become quite an epic horror franchise to this very day. Kicking off at number 3 is going to be The Death of Nancy from the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Yes, easily the best Elm Street sequel, and honestly what definitely really should have been the very last one of the OG series before Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Like this should have been the last one they did before that. Picking up where pretty much, this movie kicks off right where the original film left off, and now you're about a group of children that are at this hospital. They have to face Freddy Krueger. One of them is this girl named Kristen that like pretty much is now They're working with this doctor that are assigned to the case, and the kids realize their abilities actually are within the nightmare world. And so, like, pretty much, yeah, the doctor they're working with is the character Nancy from the first film. She's back in this one. Freddy then captures one of them, and they have to do this rescue attempt into Freddy Krueger's domain so they can put his spirit to rest once and for all. Like, another reason why this should have been the last one of the series, because this was also where the series started to get comical. And yeah, like, here's the thing though, like, the comedy was fine for this installment. Not really the rest. No. Elm Street 4, I guess, was decently good, but do we really need a fourth one? No, not really. 5 was bad. I could agree on that one. Freddy's Dead can go to fucking hell where it belongs. Fuck that movie all the way. New Nightmare is awesome. Freddy vs. Jason's awesome. The remake should never be talked about. And I don't want to, and I never will. I reviewed it once, and I'm not talking about it ever again. Let's get back to this, though. Like, this one, though, this is definitely the best sequel of the series. It's got the most creative kills. It got a terrific performance of Heather, who's back in the role of Nancy. This terrific concept of these kids having these special abilities in the nightmare world, and they have to use them to be able to destroy Freddy Krueger for good. Or sad, like, yeah. And also, like, Robert Englund gives one of the best Freddy portrayals. Up there with the first. I'd say it's up there with, I think it's probably the best one, the best version of him. I think it's easily the best version of him, no doubt. But our sad bit right here is in the finale, where our main characters, Nancy, Kristen, KK, and Joey, they're walking along the corridor. They're red, papered in red, they're decorated with mirrors. A large mirror appears that blocks their path, and Freddy shows up, and he apologizes for keeping them waiting. Says, like, if only there was more meat to go around. And, like, yeah. He's laughing at all the mirrors. And Joey backs in a corner. Joey's clearly scared, and Freddy's grabbing the other, shaking mirrors. But, though, Joey actually gets the courage right here to stand up, and he screams, no! And all the mirrors smash. He, like, finally has the courage to face Freddy. And he frees the others. And at first they think it's over right there. And then Nancy's father appears and tells her, like, he's now crossed over because her father is also killed during the whole finale. And can't go without telling her that he was sorry for all the things he had done. And he loves her. Nancy embraces her father. But then guess what? It was all a vision that Freddy was using. And Freddy then immediately plunges his claws into her stomach. And he snarls, die, as he pushes the blade in deeper. Then, of course, though, Neil awakens, and some might bury in the grave. Then Kristen screams in horror. Freddy causes the door behind her to close, and she's separated from Kincaid and Joey right there. And then tosses Nancy aside, and then knocks Kristen to the floor. Like, his arm gets held back. He's about to stab her. But then, of course, like, Nancy in her last moments does manage to actually, before she's about to die, she grabs Freddy and forces blades into himself instead. And then Neil climbs out of the grave and kicks the bones of Freddy Krueger and splashes them with holy water. And of course, Freddy is now destroyed. Right there. Right there. And yeah, his spin, he explodes in this ball of gold lights. Right there. And so yeah, he's destroyed. And then of course, Kristen's then holding Nancy's dead body, like wailing that she can try to dream Nancy a beautiful dream. And then the movie pretty much ends with her funeral right there. Like right there, guys. This bit was a pretty bittersweet moment. So it's like one of the few lead kill-offs in horror films that works, because it's not like Nancy dies in opening straight away disrespectfully. No, she's actually a lead character in this. She dies actually defeating Freddy. And her death right there actually would have been a perfect way to close off the series. But no. New Line Cinema wanted more money. This made more money than the other two, so New Line demanded more moolah. And so he kept getting more. So this scene was also further pointless, because guess what? Elm Street, as good as Elm Street 4 is, all 3 of them die in the next movie to start off the film. Kicking off at number 2 is going to be The Death of the Dogs from John Carpenter's The Thing. John Carpenter's magnum opus masterpiece. and easily the greatest horror film of all time now in my eyes. This film is timeless, it's scary, it's brutal, it's well written, it has great effects, its score is terrific, it's well directed, everything is great, no bad qualities whatsoever for me. It's pretty much, yeah, how we start off is like, we are a U.S. research station in 1982, and the base gets buzzed by this helicopter from the Norwegian research. They want to kill this dog that escaped from their base. Then a destruction of the Norwegian chopper, like the members of the U.S. team, they go to the Norwegian base, they discover them all dead or missing, and they find this creature's remains in the Norwegians buried, and they take it to their base and induce that to this alien life form. And apparently the alien can take over, assimilate into other life forms, especially humans, and it can spread like a virus. Right there. And so they also find that dog earlier from the beginning scene, and they put it in with the other husky dogs they have. Our sad moment, guys, speaking of that, our sad moment I'm about to talk about, it's not just a sad moment. It's also one of the scariest scenes in cinema history, and it still is to this very day. The movie literally starts off with like with the whole thing right there, okay, sorry I'm getting taken too long on this, guys. Once the husky is in with the other husky dogs, that very night, that stray husky the other dogs start reacting in fear to the new addition of it. They're growling and snarling at it, and so our new sled dog, we find out, actually transforms into this hideous creature with tentacles and crab legs, and it starts attacking the other dogs. The incident gets discovered by the handler of them named Clark, who's played by Richard Masur. He watches horrified, and Mac now hears the sound of the things groan and the cries of our dogs. And the first thing he does is he turns on the alarm. He goes to the kennel to see the hideous dog-like creature consuming the other sled dogs. Like, part of the creature that separates from the rest, and it pulls itself up towards the ceiling. And pretty much they shoot, and the men arrive. They shoot the beast with their guns, and the thing is then burned with a flamethrower. Like, yeah, it's a very terrifying moment, no doubt, but it's also a very sad moment too, because you really can understand why the dogs are so fearful and why they're barking at the new arrival. And they're not just barking at the new arrival. They're barking for someone to immediately come by and save them, hoping to notice them, and they're chewing the fence to get out as soon as they can. Thankfully some of them do get out and survive, and also, the creature itself looks terrifying when you see its appearance. This is a film from 1982, and this creature actually looks better designed than a lot of other creatures do today. And not only that, guys, it sets up the terrifying tone for the rest of the movie. John Carpenter's The Thing, guys, there's many reasons why John Carpenter's The Thing is always still going to be a masterpiece for many generations to come. Now, before we get to the number one pick, let's get through the clips of the the honorable mentions.
Jenny's infected!
Billy.
Keep them warm, keep them warm.
And with that, now we're at the number one. And the number one saddest horror movie moment for me personally is none other than the ending to The Fly from 1986. Yes, this would easily be my number one. The Mist may be a sad moment, but that's kind of more of a shocking moment. But to me personally, this by far is the number one saddest bit in a horror film ever. It's another terrific remake, and definitely easily Cronenberg's magnum opus, one of Jeff Goldblum's best performances of his career. Everything about this movie is also very phenomenal too. Yeah, pretty much the plot is this scientist changes the world with this teleportation technology, and his experiment is going well, but then, of course, Seth Brundle tests this machine on himself, and he gets fused with the worst kind of pest on planet Earth called the Fly. And the price of a man playing God, only Seth knows. Yeah, this movie may not be just, no, this is not just a dark horror film, guys. It's a very depressing one, too. Like, yeah, you have some violence that's occasional, but this movie's not about the violence. It's about the consequences of the science experiment and the grotesque a little more than some of the sequences. Like, yeah. And you have, like, one of the most depressing and heartbreaking endings of a horror movie ever. Like, right here, Steph is now fully transformed into the Brundlefly and throws Veronica into a pod, activates the computer, steps into the other, and the countdown teleportation ticks away. Then the wounded Steph he comes to his senses and uses a shotgun to shoot the cables connecting this telepod that Veronica's into the computer, forcing it offline, and Veronica is now safe. So Brundlefly then smashes the door to his telepod and tries to escape, but the teleportation begins as it is halfway out of the telepod, and it's like, and of course, in a flash, like the section of the telepod gets transported to the third pod with Brundlefly, and a shower of sparks happens, and then Steph manages to crawl Veronica's pod, lets her out. Then Brundlefly is fused to the section of the telepod that it took, and the receiving pod opens, and Brundlefly collapses just onto the floor. Most of its body is now this mangled, twisted mess of massive flesh and machinery, and Brundlefly claws towards Veronica. She arms herself instead of a shotgun. And Brundlefly doesn't even try to harm her at all. Brundlefly, this time around, actually uses a claw to point the shotgun at his own head and asks Veronica to end his life. And silently, she doesn't want to at first because she knows this is Seth, but seeing that the creature was her lover at first, is now deformed, in pain, and can never be cured, she ends up having to pull the trigger and blows apart Brundlefly's head. And so, like, the film ends with her sobbing, and then the credits just rolls, the film fades to black as she's sobbing. Like, man, yeah. You can definitely see why this is my number one saddest horror moments ever. And it just really, and honestly, this just easily makes for these to be easily, to me, the number one saddest horror movie ever made. Right here. Everything about this movie is depressing. Like, this movie, it's scary at times, but it's also extremely depressing. Like, really. Jeff and Gina in this movie, they give terrific chemistry, they give heartbreaking performances, and you can tell, like, in this whole bit, Brundlefly just wants Veronica to put him out of his misery and life now, and Veronica has no choice, and she's now forced to kill him. Right there. And then the sequel apparently the sequel kills her off in the next bit. Right there. And I don't like the sequel. But yeah, The Fly, easily my number one pick. Now, I want to know in the comments down below what your number 11s would probably be. Below, I know I've already saw Ryan Connors, but I want to know your guys, but I want some of your other guys' top 11 for this, or what your sass horror movie moments would probably be. If you're wishing I included, Cyril's wishing I included The Mist in this, I'm sorry, but like The Mist is a sad moment, but honestly, I felt these were a lot sadder. Should have made an honorable mention, but whatever. I'm familiar with the ending of The Mist, guys, but it's more of a shock kind of sad. This is like a despair kind of sad I'm talking about here. Until then, guys, that'll be it for this top 11. Thank you all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.